and now Rhyperior just needs to survive 2 charms. What is going on, everyone? Ox here with another video. If you're new to the channel, we do upload Pokemon Go content mostly related to PvP, and if you're a returning subscriber like Generic Lawnmower, thank you for the support. In today's video, we are taking a look at some battles in the Open Great League featuring a team which upon first glance may look quite weak, but let me tell you right now, this team is actually a lot worse than you think. It is the Rhyhorn evolution line, with Rhyperior being the highest ranked Pokemon on this team according to PvPoke at number 658, Rhydon at number 664, and little Rhyhorn at the very impressive number 708. So this team is far from great, and taking a look at the PvPoke ratings, this is not the type of report card your parents would be proud of. You just know little Rhyhorn's gonna catch a beating from Mama Rhyperior, and do not be fooled by that A4 consistency bringing up the average. It's like receiving an A for perfect attendance but still failing every class. Now let's go watch this team go and kick some ass. So if you're a fan of Chelsea FC, the Oakland Athletics, the Cleveland Browns, maybe even Inter Miami before the arrival of Messi, if that's the case, then you're going to be accustomed to what you see in this video, which is a lot of losing. So taking a look at the movesets, both Rhyperior and Rhydon actually have access to some pretty powerful charge moves, and the reason I am not running Rock Wrecker on Rhyperior is because I didn't feel it was worth the investment of the Elite TM. However, in the Zero Shields, Rhyperior would actually defeat Sableye with Rock Wrecker, so we're already off to a bad start. And the reason I decided to lead with Rhyperior is because it has access to Smackdown, which is going to provide some flying type coverage. Both Rhydon and Rhyhorn only have access to Mud Slap or Rock Smash. Rock Smash is absolute trash. So although these 3 Pokemon do share the same typing of Rock and Ground, I'm trying to run it in a somewhat ABB style in terms of the movesets. Now if you wanted the best example of just how bad this team actually is, we have a Rhyhorn and a Rhyperior left against a Noctowl and a Lantern. 2 rock ground types against a flying and electric type. You would think this is an amazing situation to find ourselves in. However, these Pokemon are actually so bad, they are oftentimes still going to lose these matchups as long as the opposing Pokemon has a move that hits for neutral or super effective damage. Now what makes an already bad team worse is an even worse trainer controlling that team. And in this situation here, I make a bigger blunder than Nepo against Dinglaren in Game 12 of the World Chess Championship, trying to go for 4 Horn attacks instead of 3 Stomps, which as you're going to see is going to be the difference to leave the opponent with a sliver of HP. And unlike Messi, who under pressure scores a 94th minute free kick to win, we are out here under pressure going 0-5 instead. So before using this team, we were in the 2500s and we are slowly working our way down into the 2300s at this point. And one of the challenges with running a team like this is that even if the opponent has 2 Pokemon that you dominate, as long as they have 1 water or grass type, even a fighting type, just like the LA Lakers against the Denver Nuggets, this team is basically going to be swept. Now the team we're going up against here in this battle is a very popular one at the moment. I believe it was created by JJan11, and I recently saw it featured on the Pogo King channel, and unfortunately this team completely destroys the Rhyhorn family. And you might be wondering, why come in with Smackdown against a Medicham? Well, I know there's an Azumarill in the back, so it really doesn't matter what I do here. I was just praying that maybe there's something weak to ground, and Rhyhorn could somehow take out Sandslash, plus a 3rd Pokemon in the back. So jumping into the next battle, we have a positive lead. Finally, Rhyperior into Altaria. Of course, without Rock Wrecker, we are going to lose these Zero Shields, but the opponent swaps out into a Lantern, and this is finally setting up to look like a matchup that we should be able to win, or is it? It might seem a bit shocking, but considering it's a water type and a very bulky one at that, it didn't come as too much of a surprise that even in the 2 shields, all 3 of these Pokemon are still going to lose to Lantern because it's simply just going to outpace to the Surf, and one Surf being double super effective against Rock and Ground is pretty much going to take out any of these 3 Pokemon. So as long as the opponent wants to invest their shields, they're going to win switch advantage. Altaria is then going to be aligned onto Rhyhorn, which isn't going to be able to do anything, and that's assuming they don't have something in the back which sweeps this team. And Azumarill definitely is one of the Pokemon that qualifies for that category. The only win in this video so far is getting a shield with Superpower. So as you can see, running this team of 3 is not easy. So jumping into the next battle, we have Rhyperior once again into Alolan Sandslash. We've already seen this once. And the thing is, even if we lead with Rhydon or Rhyhorn in what should be a winning matchup, it doesn't matter because once they swap out into either Medicham or Azumarill, we have no response and we end up losing this match by default. But the opponent is deciding to stay in this matchup, so maybe, and it's a long shot, a longer shot than Mbappe going to Saudi Arabia, but maybe, just maybe, they have a triple steal team and we have a chance. Now, being a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, it's no surprise that I had hope for something which is impossible, and we do of course see the Medicham come in, and at this point we know it's an Azumarill in the back, and this battle is over. But for the purpose of scientific research, we're going to stay in this matchup for a bit longer, play it out, and see just how bad this matchup can be. But at this point, it's quite obvious that if we are going to win a battle with this team, it's going to require a couple of things. 1, no fighting type, no grass type, no water type. And 2, even without one of those Pokemon on the opponent's team, we are likely still going to need the opponent to make a mistake. But then of course there are going to be some battles in which the lead is so dominant that I don't think any number of mistakes an opponent can make will be enough to overcome just how steep of a mountain this is to climb. The Rhyhorn family up against Medicham in the lead is basically the equivalent of asking the MLS All-Stars to play Arsenal in a friendly. It's a bad idea. You already know the result's going to be bad, and it's no surprise the MLS All-Stars lost that game 0-5 because that basically is the exact same score we are going to get at the end of this set. Now, to be honest, I would not be surprised to find out that the opponent could just stay in with Medicham this whole battle and take out all 3 of my Pokemon, but they wanted to make it a bit more interesting for us, so they swapped out into Noctowl, and instead of giving up and throwing in the white towel, we are going to stay in here, play this out, and pretty much see out the inevitable, which is another loss for this team. Now, even though we are going to lose this matchup because we have no answer to Medicham, I am going to stay in here because I want to see what their 3rd and final Pokemon is. So Rhydon is going to reach this Surf. Unfortunately, that's not going to take out the Medicham. They swap out into a Lantern. And once again, this seems like a Pokemon that we would have a decent opportunity to defeat. But the only way that would be possible is if we had 3 shields and the opponent only had 2. So basically, it seems the only way to win with this team is to start with an unfair advantage, a handicap in shields, or if the opponent lags out, neither of which would constitute a legitimate win. But we are now 0-4 in this set, looking to survive and avoid the 0-5. Rhyperior into Stunfisk. We have 2 decent answers in the back, so we swap out into Rhydon, and of course the opponent comes in with one of the hardest of counters, Medicham, a Pokemon which has been destroying us this entire video. In fact, I believe there's been a Medicham in just about every team so far, but I could be wrong, and most of the time I am wrong. Either way, this Medicham is running Power Up Punch, which is an absolutely brutal blow for us because an already bad matchup becomes even worse. So after having completely taken out 2 of our Pokemon, Rhyperior is going to come back in, and honestly just getting rid of that Medicham and preserving one of our shields feels like a win. Stunfisk comes in, going to go for the Surf. That's going to force a shield. We are going to call the Rock Slide bait, but it really doesn't matter because they're going to Mud Shot down. And just like that, we are going to go 0-5 once again with this team. That is 10 losses in a row. And at this point, we are well on our way to relegation, already basically in ace rank. And I would not be surprised if we got so low that our badge actually went from veteran to ace all the way down back to rank 20. Of course, in Pokemon Go Battle League, that is not possible, so you don't have to worry about it. But we have one final battle here for you all before we put you out of your misery. And hopefully this time it could result in a win. Rhyperior into Shadow Hypno. At the time, this didn't seem like the worst matchup, but of course, we are going to have to swap out at some point because if they do have a flying type, we're going to want to keep that Rhyperior with some HP. and according to PvPoke, the matchup is actually a lot worse than I initially thought against Shadow Hypno, and since they are running Ice Punch, we have pretty much no other choice but to let the Rhyhorn go down here, and just hope that maybe because they did not swap out, they don't have a great answer to Rock or Ground in the back. And I believe the reason the opponent came in with Probopass here is because they figure that Smackdown is being resisted, but this is pretty much the only potential win con we had, because now we come in with Rhydon, and unless they're running Magnet Bomb, this is going to be a very dominant position. We just need to Mud Slap down before they reach another move, and unfortunately, they do. Now, because they were able to force our final shield, I believe all the opponent needs to do here is charm all the way down, use both of their shields, and they should have enough energy for an Ice Beam to take out the Rhyperior and win this game. However, there is one potential win con, and I think it just happened. CMP tie on the Surf. This is going to leave the Wigglytuff dry on energy, and now Rhyperior just needs to survive 2 charms and reach this Surf. Opponent pulling out the Harry Maguire. Hit him with that. Bang. There it is. It took a big mistake from the opponents, but we finally won. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and a comment down below. Thanks for watching.